Opportunity to take the lead, and a goal to open the scoring. No wonder they're celebrating.
FIFA is dead, long live FIFA. EA's football simulation behemoth has returned for one last hurrah after a nasty public divorce with its licensor, calling itself the world's game ahead of a painful name change to EA Sports FC coming next year. But the tagline transcends its bittersweet pomp because for all intents and purposes, FIFA 23 fittingly does feel like the same game the world has been playing for the past few years, with some important tweaks to its reliable end-to-end gameplay and no shortage of familiar frustrations. Theatrical additions to gameplay, like the ferocious power shots, ensure that the FIFA name goes out with a decent bang rather than a whimper. Holding the bumpers and pressing shoot turns your striker into a raid boss with an interruptible attack, sending bootstrap shockwaves booming through the PS5's controller speaker. If you get the angle wrong, one of the newly improved acrobatic goalkeepers might be able to stop it with their individually simulated fingers if they're lucky. But if you get it right, and if the forward has enough space, it's likely to end up in the back of the net regardless of how far out you are.
Oh, they've done it! And surely now, promotion in their future!
This meta-shaking type of shot teases out the halcyon days of Francesco Totti hit-and-hope long shots seen in the early 2010s FIFA, but don't worry, online multiplayer is still plagued with speedy wingers passing it along the box on the break. Why try and have fun, huh?
What a contest this is turning out to be!
While it can't escape the series' perennial problem of being over-reliant on pacey players entirely, FIFA 23 does reward careful execution across the board. Your fingers will hurt from pulling the triggers to jockey dangerous counterattacks, and the intensity of a pass has to be fine-tuned, which is hard to master but satisfying when you place the perfect through ball. Rogue tackles will also leave you wide open because holding down the associated buttons for too long can lead to a dangerous crunching commitment that sometimes pays off, but more often than not leads to a nail-biting penalty. This turns tackling with the last man back into a risky and inherently thrilling endeavor.
An incisive pass.
These changes make FIFA 23 a much slower game than FIFA 22, but the trade-off is that matches are consistently meaningful. There's an abundance of drama in each half, with multiple goals per match across single-player and online, and very few 0-0 draws. Keeping with the theatrics, any goal worth its salt will also result in one of these victory lap replays, guaranteeing that hard drives and social feeds the world over will be clogged with viral-friendly goal clips by year's end. Set pieces are similarly convincing, affording you more control over the curl and power of your corners and free kicks. They're far more intricate and preferable to the chaotic stick-pulling of previous years. Likewise, penalty shootouts play out like an intense rhythm game, won in the hands of the gods.
To win it.
Well, what a penalty this is. He was under so much pressure.
FIFA 23 also includes a visual upgrade, though it's far more iterative and gradual than last year's leap to PS5 and Series X, focusing this time on scuff-happy grass and bouncy hairdos. It's primarily seen in player animations on the pitch rather than actual faces, which still vary wildly in quality between cover stars, regular players, and the cultish crowd. Keepers react convincingly with or without vision and will stumble backwards to swat deflected balls. The exhausting match commentary is back with a vengeance, but luckily this year you can turn it all off and pump in the typically dazzling soundtrack, which includes Bad Bunny bangers and underground earworms from DOS and Cry-A-Lot. The popular career mode and Volta Football barely get a look in this year. There's a new personality system that lets you roleplay as your chosen footballer, but when this amounts to receiving Maverick points for buying a mattress for a Serbian striker in the K-League, it's not a very good use of time or effort. You can choose a real manager to play as in Manager Career and dress him up to your liking for what that's worth. Ted Lasso's here too, but while that made for a fun trailer, the lack of voice acting makes it an underwhelming novelty to play with. The time spent importing AFC Richmond could have just as easily been better used on, for example, implementing women's club football into career mode, but that's still not included. This year, Volta Football and Pro Clubs have been folded into one neat section, and they coincidentally both suffer from similar problems. Drop-in games are brimming with wingers who overwhelm the AI with ludicrous calls to pass the ball. It's fun to develop your Create-A-Pro into a Shrek-adjacent goal monster, but when your progression is tied to your in-game rating, you're incentivized to perform dispossessing skill move runs that even Saint Maximin wouldn't bother with. FIFA's street football vehicle Volta suffers a similar fate. It's epitomized by the new Take Flight signature ability that turns you into an aerial maestro. Because the power relies on crossing and teamwork, most just pick Power Strike and commit to glory-seeking runs. The good news is that EA seems committed to Volta Arcade, expanding the party minigame mode into a moorish battle royale of silly skill games and obstacle courses that evoke the best parts of Fall Guys. Sadly, it's still only available at weekends, which feels criminal. Surprise, surprise, the microtransaction-ridden FIFA Ultimate Team mode has received the most attention. One of the best new features is a team training mode called Foot Moments, which offers bite-sized pockets of FIFA gameplay in the form of rewarding challenges designed to test your shape and figure out how different cards work together. It's early doors, but there's tantalizing scope to chronicle player careers and recreate immortal moments of football history with this mode. FIFA 23 features highlights from the golden years of Jurgen Klopp and Kylian Mbappe, but going forward, it'd be awesome to see what EA's team can do with other footballing legends like Pele and King Kazuyoshi Miura using this format. Elsewhere, there are sweeping changes to the chemistry system. Chemistry is no longer affected by a player's position in the formation relative to other players, which enables greater diversity across leagues and nations. This won't change anyone's strategy too much, but it's nice knowing that you can throw in wildcard players and have more ways to connect them to top division players. Finding that perfect player to hit the coveted 33 chemistry feels very much like a squad building challenge now, which feels intentional. In a dark portent of the football game licensing wars to come, FIFA has lost the J1 League license this year, which means no more King Kazu and Ultimate Team. Instead, we unleashed an exciting bronze and silver Australian A-League team featuring the feared strike force of Hibs winger Martin Boyle and the aptly named David Ball. Despite some double-digit thrashings, this underdog crew managed to cause a few early surrenders from opponents with million-coin ensembles, exposing Ultimate Team for the gilded farce that it is. Overall, it's par for the course as far as the online multiplayer is concerned, with fidgety twitching and emotions on high across the board. It's the FIFA we know at its very frustrating best. Regardless, Ultimate Team's bread and butter of buying and selling silly little guys is impossible to recommend. Even if you can still have a bit of fun with it every year without paying, it's the barbarous nature in which you can quickly be pulled into debt by going full Gollum with one last precious player pack. Beyond consolidating the transfer markets, there have been no meaningful changes to EA's morally questionable approach to microtransactions. One small thing is that ratings now trickle upwards during the glitzy reveal, which somehow makes pack opening feel even more like a one-armed bandit.
Technical excellence to finish that one off!
FIFA 23 is a bombastic swan song for the series, under its current name at least, and it places a welcome focus on theatrical flair. Ultimate Team moments, action replays, and viral-friendly gameplay revisions like power shots make it a more considered, memorable game of simulated football that produces more intentional defending and plenty of drama and goals. But EA's Spartan approach to the modes that don't make money after the fact ensures FIFA 23 is an all-too-familiar beast to previous years, and Ultimate Team's offensive focus on microtransactions continues to take much of the fun out of it. For more of this year's biggest sports games, check out our reviews of Madden NFL 23 and NBA 2K23, and for everything else, stick with IGN.